has been fascinating to watch the evolution of open source in the business community over literally the last 25 years, both in enterprise computing and in network operators. The first generation of people confronted with open source in the business community basically hated it. They thought it was hippy-dippy nonsense and a bunch of communism. And they just weren't going to stand for it. I think now we have a more mature perspective on it. We understand that open source has a place in the world of business and for-profit business and can bring with it several advantages, but also a few problems. The main advantage to open source is solving problems that are shared among people in the same business that don't provide special business value for any individual company. I mean, looking at our own industry and communication service providers, every company needs VPNs, every company needs firewalls, every company needs load balancers, every company needs intrusion prevention and detection, and so on and so on and so on. And a lot of these things don't really provide a lot of special value to one company over another. So in that case, it makes sense to pool resources and develop all of them together, and then focus the proprietary developer resources on things that really do add a lot of punch to the dollar. One particular wrinkle that you can see is companies that are actually using open source as an offensive gesture. Basically, if company A has some sort of proprietary technology that really provides a lot of value and customer lock-in, the other companies in the industry can try to develop technology that competes with that technology and release it as open source. That way, the company A that gets a lot of this value from the proprietary technology will really have to struggle to replicate that. And we're seeing a lot of companies trying to do that against Cisco. A lot of the SDN companies that are running on white boxes really try to beef up the value faster and faster. Another interesting competitive advantage you see is it teaches collaboration, particularly collaboration on the fly. A lot of us get locked in our little silos, and it becomes overwhelming even to work with other departments within our own company, let alone with partner companies, let alone with companies that we may have merged with or been acquired by or acquired. And with open source, you just learn to kind of pick things up and work with whoever's, figuratively speaking, sitting next to you. Very valuable skill to have today. For individuals, open source is a networking opportunity. You will very often find your next job with the person you're collaborating with on an open source project. P.S. Don't tell your boss about that. However, there are a certain amount of problems that any company can run into in open source. I think the big one is you are relying on the community. The community can be very reliable. On the other hand, these guys are not on your payroll. So you have this situation where you're developing technology that you rely on, but you're not the boss of the people developing it. It involves learning new collaboration techniques, new teamwork techniques. It's a new way of doing business, but it's an exciting way of doing business, and it's one that can be learned and used for advantage.